What's up, fight fans? And we are back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I am always your host. Where the wall fights start. Let's go. Naoya Inoue, May 4th versus Roman. Let's talk about this fight. We got a lot to break down. So, like always, give these videos a like, share the videos, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into this episode. What's up, guys? Man, let's go. So, we got Naoya Inoue coming up against Mexicans, promising star and Roman Cardenas. He's going to try to come out to Las Vegas and pull off one of the biggest upsets in all of boxing. We're going to be talking about that, all the fights that have transpired over the weekend. And I want to know what you guys think about this Nick Ball fight, right, versus TJ Doheny. And what did you guys see? Look, first of all, this was Nick Ball's doing. Let's just keep that right there, right in the open. Nick Ball wanted to test himself, excuse me, and use a fighter that just entered and fought Naoya Inoue recently and kind of used that as a measuring stick to where he's at. And that if he's ready enough to fight a fighter such as Naoya Inoue, because like we always hear many times, no one believes that Naoya Inoue is the type of fighter he is, or the monster they keep advertising him as. The problem is he's exactly that, right? So, Nick Ball goes into this fight with TJ Doheny. Let me tell you something right now. Nick Ball was exposed on so many levels in this fight. Now, if you can say that TJ Doheny was washed, old, when he fought Naoya Inoue, and that was a tomato can, and that was a fight you didn't want to see, well, it looked like Nick Ball was on his way to losing his belt. Had it not been for TJ Doheny's old injuries that kind of resurfaced in the fight, and he wasn't really able to continue. Nick Ball, he looked lost at times in that fight with TJ Doheny. Nick Ball could not hit TJ Doheny in that fight. With the little bit of evading moves that TJ Doheny was using and the counter punching, shooting shots from his hip, he had Nick Ball in all kinds of trouble. And we got to remember that Naoya Inoue used TJ Doheny as a punching bag. Nick Ball couldn't hit TJ Doheny, and Naoya Inoue could not miss. This is a man that everybody's hyping up, saying he was just going to beat down Naoya Inoue. Moving up to 126 would be way too much for him, and the power of Nick Ball will be too much for the Japanese superstar. Well, I noticed a lot of things in that ring. I noticed that TJ Doheny was the much bigger guy, and he was Nick Ball was real small compared to him. But I didn't see that against Naoya Inoue. I didn't see that TJ Doheny was that much bigger than Naoya Inoue, right? And TJ Doheny didn't win a second, and I mean not a second or a minute in that fight. I'm trying to tell you right now, people, if you put Nick Ball against Naoya Inoue at 126, you might as well hand Naoya Inoue that belt. Nick Ball is going to sleep. I'm going to tell you right, I know that Naoya Inoue and his coaches and his team was watching that fight. They saw the same thing the entire world saw. That Nick Ball, the one they're hyping up here, is you. I don't think Nick Ball presents any real serious. I don't think he's going to be able to hit Naoya Inoue. Not with his evading ability and his movement and his footwork. If he can't hit TJ Doheny, there's no way he's going to hit Naoya Inoue with anything. Not with those short arms, those little looping shots. He's going to see that all day. All the openings that TJ Doheny had in that fight, give those openings to Naoya Inoue. What's going to happen? That's a recipe for disaster. Nick Ball's going to get knocked out within 3 rounds messing around with Naoya Inoue. He might be one of those fighters that don't make it out the first round. Naoya Inoue is relentless. He's a very fast starter. He goes in right away. And you got to understand, Naoya Inoue, listen, he knows so many things about boxing. And he has so many punches and things he can go to that Nick Ball's selection of punches is very low. He's got 4 or 5 punches at best that he can go to. It's not going to be hard for a hard skill fighter such as Naoya Inoue to nullify his 1 or 2 major punches. Nick Ball's done after that. He's done. And like every guy coming into the fight with Naoya Inoue, of course, you got to be confident in your abilities and yourself, right? Roman Cardenas was stopped at an airport and they had an interview on him and he confirmed that the fight was for May 4th. And we all know that because I got my ticket. All right. And I will be in Vegas on that day. I'm going to be in the building at the Naoya Inoue fight. I'm going to be there. I got to be there. I got to experience the Naoya Inoue experience firsthand. I have to see him. Because I'm going to tell you right now, when we talk about the best fighters in the world, I've searched my life, my entire life, since I understood what real fighting was. Maybe I didn't get in the position to pull off the things that I see in my head. I may have not had my training complete or the ability to pull it off, but I know what I'm looking for. And I know what the best fighter in the world looks like if I ever saw him. And I got to admit, that's the closest thing to the best fighter I've ever seen in my life. When we talk is cheap. All fighters say that their style and their power is the best. When you watch a fighter that doesn't rely just solely on one of the God-given strengths or abilities that he was given, meaning some guys have a lot of power. They rely on that to get them out of the fight. Deontay Wilder type shit, right? Yo, what's up, baby? How you doing? And some guys have speed, and they rely on their speed to get them out of bad situation. Sugar Ray Leonard, you know, some people have real skill, and they rely on that. But Naoya Inoue is a rare blend. This you don't get this from a everyday fighter. You had to have been blessed by the gods and capitalize on your ability and increase it too. The understanding that he has in his head to be able to pull it off in real life, that's much different. All of us believe we're ninjas up here, but when it's time to fight, we might be awkward as hell. It doesn't really translate. The only way it translates is hours and upon hours of repetition in the gym. It's the only way. You got to keep your body sharp and your mind to be able to translate what you're thinking in your head. The ability to do that and then to get on a world stage and to pull it off. I know a lot of guys that are amazing fighters in the gym sparring. Under those bright lights, they're not the same guy. So to be able to pull that off, fight in, fight out all the time and maintain that, And at this level, he's doing it with all 4 belts. He's doing it at the highest level you can. There is no higher level than what Naoya Inoue is at in boxing. So when you ask a boxer to go up, make his way throughout the divisions, and become a world champion, you would be happy with that. Naoya Inoue took it up several levels, and he's showing the world with the right discipline, the right dedication to your craft, you can achieve a lot. Blessed with some of the skills that he has, it's going to take a really special fighter, or a fighter that has a strong chin and that forward aggression that just can take punches to break through that. Because the kryptonite usually to a strong boxer, counter puncher, real skilled fighter is forward pressure. You can't let him set up. You can't let him plant his feet in front of you. If he's a rhythm fighter and he's bouncing off his toes, you got to get him off rhythm. But there's a price to pay with that. And you're going to take a lot of punishment. But I've seen it done. I've seen the Roberto Duran weather down Sugar Ray Leonard and get him to stand in the ring and fight his fight. I've seen that kind of fight. It's up to the fighter to stay disciplined and not to fall into that. You know, because the fight was slipping away. When we saw Nick Ball against TJ Doheny, Nick Ball kicked TJ Doheny and didn't get disqualified. I was like, what is this, UFC? And then wrestling tactics. He wrestles him down to the ground. He's grabbing him and stuff. And it was because Nick Ball was getting outclassed. And what he wanted to do is like bulldozer in and try to like hit him like TJ Doheny, but he wasn't going anywhere. What's up, my man? They call me crazy when I said he might become a 3-division undisputed. Listen, whoever called you crazy, let them keep calling you crazy, right, my man? Listen, they say a lot about Naoya Inoue, but stay your ground. I know what I'm seeing. You know what you're seeing with your own 2 eyes, right? And it's tough because everybody's like, you guys are crazy. He's a hype job, this and that. I'm like, hype job? Like, that's the toughest hype job I've ever seen in my life. Yo, my man is tough. Nick Ball lunges in way too much and leaves himself exposed. Yeah, listen, he overextends on his punches. Naoya Inoue is going to leave him right there. I'm trying to tell the world. And from what I saw, he was so outclassed and so outmatched with TJ Doheny. He found out TJ Doheny ain't no slouch. I try to tell the world that. I was like, yo, pay attention. Naoya Inoue was the only man in TJ Doheny's career to stop him. No one's been, because he got good movement, man. The old man can fight. But when he fights Naoya Inoue, he's old. But when he fights TJ Doheny, he's good. He's a great opponent. He's a good measuring stick. You see how it's convenient for them to tell you that he's old when he fights Naoya Inoue? Why? Because they want to. If you can't beat a great one in the gym, in the ring, try to destroy his credibility as a fighter. Go after him out of the ring because you can't beat him in the ring. So what they're going to try to do is smear Naoya Inoue's name by spreading all these lies and rumors about him. Hype job, hand wrap, steroid aggregate, and none of these things are true. Not one. Do they have facts or they've ever, and none of it. Because they can't beat him in the ring. Thank you for the super chat. Bentley, what's up? We ain't. That's right, baby. We know what we see. We know what we see. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, I've searched a lot to try to find the best fighter in the world, and he's right in front of my face. And I'm not going to make the same mistake I was, an angry fan like in basketball when Michael Jordan used to beat the crap out of my Lakers, out of Magic and Kareem in them. And that was at the tail end of Magic's career. And then the Lakers were getting a new image with the Shaq and the Kobe and this and that. And I was stubborn. Even though Michael Jordan was right there, I couldn't see him. I didn't want to see him as a fan. I didn't want to turn my back on my Lakers. And boy, do I regret that. Boy, do I regret never going out and seeing a legend such as Michael and not appreciating his greatness. I appreciate it now. Much older, much wiser. I am not going to be a stubborn boxing fan. If I watch boxing, it's because I want to watch the best knockouts. That shit don't get old. Watching a man flat on his back in a world, that shit does not get old. I can watch knockouts all day. And Naoya Inoue, the Japanese superstar, does exactly that. He provides me with action, knockouts, and skill. And you can see it. And he's come up against all kinds of styles, nationalities. Speaking of which, all Mexican fighters that Naoya Inoue has come up against, he's knocked out. All of them. Naoya Inoue is a tough dude, and he's a puzzle. He's definitely a puzzle to figure out. I'm not so nervous for him at 126 no more, like I once was. I see the size of the men that fight Nick Ball, and if you go back in Nick Ball's career, you see the size of them. Then you see the size of TJ Doheny. Then you look at Naoya Inoue. You like, nah, he's going to be fine at 126. He's going to be fine. And I have to remind myself sometimes that Tank Davis is exactly Naoya Inoue's height. Tank Davis is fighting at 135 and upwards of 140. Naoya Inoue is the exact same height as Tank Davis. And, he might be taller than Tank Davis. Tank Davis might be on a phony baloney 5'5". He looks a lot shorter than 5'5" when you see him. I'm going to tell you that right now. And Naoya Inoue might be a real 5'5". So he might be a little taller than Tank. So if Tank looks like that against those guys in that height, Naoya Inoue translating over 4 more pounds, how more difficult can it be from 122 to 126, right? We all say that. But a weight jump is a weight jump. And I've seen legendary fighters make that exact same weight jump, and it didn't work out for them. One in particular with Wilfredo Gomez. He had 100% knockout ratio at 122 pounds in the super bantamweight division. 100%. 32 fights, he knocked out all 32 fighters. 17 world title fights, he knocked out all 17 world challengers. He was 100% in his career. No man he ever entered the ring with, he didn't knock out. He moved up one weight division, the same jump we're asking Naoya Inoue to do, from 122 to 126. Same jump. He had 100% knockout ratio. Understand that. 32 fights, 32 knockouts, bro. He moves up 126. After the fight, his mother didn't recognize him. Sergio Sanchez beat the brakes off of that man. He moved up one weight division. He's a more powerful champion than Naoya Inoue is. Well, at the time, he had more title defenses. Naoya Inoue got more belts. Yeah. But he had more title defenses. And he was rocking 100% knockout ratio. Right now, is Naoya Inoue? Yeah, he is. Naoya Inoue is rocking a 100% knockout ratio since entering the 122-pound weight division. And since entering the 122-pound weight division, he fought Stephen Kubo Fulton, Marlon Tapales, Luis Pantera Nari, TJ Doheny, and Yi Young Kim. And all 5 fighters that he fought, he's knocked out. In all 5 fights, he fought a unification for 2 belts. He fought another unification for 2 belts. He defended all 4 belts, defended all 4 belts, and defended all 4 belts. That's what Naoya Inoue has done since he's been in 122. How about that? Name me a fighter right now that's putting up all 4 belts. Saul Canelo Alvarez is probably the closest. That's it. That's all you got. And Saul lost his belt, and the world just criticized him for fighting William Skull. I'm like, yo, go get your belt back. That's a no-brainer. Go get all 4 belts back, because every time you defend all 4 belts, that shit goes in the record books. You got to understand that not all men are willing to give you a shot at all 4 belts. Like I always use him as an example, because Terrence was honest. Terrence was like, you think I'm going to give you a shot at what it took me a lifetime to get? I had to go chase these men down one by one. And on one night, I'm going to give you an opportunity to win all 4 belts so that you can write your name in the history books? Fuck out of here. Go get them like I got them. Throw them back in. Right? Not every man is willing to do that. Because every time you fight, when you have all 4 belts, you got to defend them all. You win them individually, and you lose them all at one time. It's fucked up, right? Crazy rule. But it keeps the champion honest. You see? So, what's up, baby? How you doing? I'm on Bad Jack says Nick's bad was very poor performance. Nick's bad can't beat up an old. He couldn't even touch. Nick Ball couldn't even touch TJ Doheny at times in that fight, and TJ Doheny was, you can see the obvious pain and flinching in his face. You can see it. You know what I'm saying? Nick Ball was so frustrated, he kicked him. Where do you do that at? Now I know. Let me write this shit down. You can kick guys in boxing, and if you get grease in your eye, your coach can come and wipe it off, and you can halt the action without a standing 8 count. Those are the things I learned in boxing these recent weeks. Let me write this shit down. What message are we sending out to the kids in boxing? What message are we sending out to the fans? That we're not willing to throw the night away, because a lot of people paid a lot of money and a lot of flights, and they're sitting in these tickets. And I get it. If you would have terminated that fight against Tank Davis, there would have been an uproar. So these referees and judges, they're under a lot of pressure. Go ahead and terminate that Gervonta Davis fight. Go ahead if you wanted to. Be the referee that said, oh, he put a fake. I understand the pressure. But a rule is a rule, my man. You can't just kick people in boxing and get away with it. What do we, and they didn't even take a point. And listen, then they took a point from Nick Ball, right? For them rough house tactics. And I knew he really lost his belt then. All TJ Doheny had to really muscle that out. Maybe he probably would have got knocked out the next round. He didn't look too good for me, right? But he was almost there. Nick Ball went through a war with this guy. Naoya Inoue is going to beat the brakes off that man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Anybody want to come up and kick it? I'm going to drop the link in the chat right here. You guys can come up. If you want to quickly just share your opinions, thoughts, tell me what you think about the fight, and tell me if you think that who's going to beat Naoya Inoue now at 126? Who's going to give him the biggest problem? I thought at one time, too, that it was going to be Espinoza because of his height. Then I started thinking, I was like, shit, where is Espinoza going to hide his body against such a fighter puncher like Naoya Inoue? His torso's too long. Naoya Inoue is going to get under there and he's going to rock that body. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not sure if Espinosa can weather the storm that is Naoya Inoue anymore. He's just, Naoya is just looking crazy. That punch that he hit Yi Young Kim with, that shot he hit him with, right? It goes to show you that in the fight, if you go back and you watch that fight, Naoya Inoue just kept him around to give the fans a little bit of their money's worth. He hit him with shots like that before. He hit him with what we call the tate quieto. In Spanish, that's what we call it. That's that. I'm going to hit you with a shot. I'm trying to show you, yo, my man, I will not put your lights out whenever I want, but let's give these fans their money worth. And Yi Young Kim didn't get the message. He's kept talking and provoking Naoya Inoue. He's calling him in. He's like, yeah, come on, right? And Naoya's like, listen, you don't want this. And he's like, yeah, like, you know, Naoya, listen. He didn't, I can't even say he cocks back because he doesn't. It more looks like he just shoots it from right here like a missile, right? He hit that shot. I must have rewind that 30, 40 times to hear the sound. That's why I'm going to Vegas right there. One of the reasons, because everybody says when they hear that man punch, the sound of his punch, it's like nothing they think that it's like a middleweight in there punching. He's hitting hard. So Naoya Inoue doesn't just rely on all shoulder. He has a lot of technique behind his punch. He had to be born with that power. He had to be. I watched Naoya Inoue. I've been studying Naoya Inoue for quite some time. I've been trying to figure out where he generates his power from. Because typically we're taught that, you know, you twist with your hip, you dip your shoulder, when you're coming down. And if you want to generate a good punch, you want to throw it like this, but arc it and drop it. Saul Canelo Alvarez, for me, does it the best. He can do it one of the most fluent besides Naoya Inoue, right? But as regular boxers, Saul Canelo Alvarez got that punch that comes like that. If he lands on your chin, good night, baby, right? So I've been studying Naoya Inoue for quite some time. I've been trying to like mimic his punch, and I can't seem to find where he gets his. When he hit Luis Pantera Nari up against the rope, it was an uppercut, and it was just a sharp movement forward. His body didn't rock like when Tank Davis hit Frank the Ghost Martin. He hit him, and his momentum was going forward. You could see that Tank's body, and when he hit Frank the Ghost Martin, his punch was going towards the crowd. So his body, and then he steps over him because his momentum was going forward. Naoya Inoue was standing right in front of him. There was no momentum. He didn't cock back. He didn't do any of that shit. He legitimately 1.5 inch punched him. Like, he didn't have to sit there like Bruce Lee and go, like charge up, like, no, he didn't have to do any of that shit. He's truly mastered the art of punching. He understands something in his head that a lot of us, it'll take us years to develop. There are special athletes like that the sport really lays down to them. And that's when we call them, you're a natural at this, kid. That's where you hit that phrase, you're a natural at this. Because I didn't have to tell him what to do. He just did it. Naoya Inoue has to understand something. He was truly born to fight. He truly was. He understands things about technique and punching. It would take me years to understand. He's just doing it. I bet you at some point in Naoya Inoue's career, he can't explain it. Because if he could explain what he was doing, I'm pretty sure he would have taught his little brother, Takuma. Why is his little brother like one of the weakest punchers in all of boxing? One of the weakest power punchers anyway. He's skilled, just doesn't have a lot of power. And I know if that was my little brother and I knew a special trick, I would have taught it to him. Don't you think? Naoya Inoue truly does it. He just does it. He just does it. And when he hit Luis Pantera Nari on that rope, I thought he killed him. He hit him like he went boom, and Luis's neck violently snapped back. The mouth guard just slides out of his mouth. He just slides down, right? He has no idea where he is. He's in complete la la land. At this point, you could have ran him for his wallet, his watch. He wouldn't have known who took that shit off him. He was out. When he hit Yi Young Kim with that shot, Yi Young Kim started crying in the ring. His head was probably screaming, "What the hell is that?" Yo, it was like, and then the fighters, right, to protect their image, because you're dealing with Macho Man, right? That's what we're dealing with, right? No man want to ever admit they got outclassed, outpowered, outworked. They don't want to admit it. Some guys will be honest. You know, you heard Paul Butler talk about Naoya Inoue. He was honest in his assessment and what transpired in the ring. But then you hear other fighters like Stephen Kubo Fulton, and he says, "Oh, it wasn't Naoya Inoue. It was me. It was me. I was off that night. He doesn't have a lot of punching power. No, he doesn't have a lot of punching power. Bro, you were laying flat on your back. And if Naoya Inoue really wanted to lay you out, Stephen, he showed you mercy. First of all, Naoya Inoue showed Stephen Kubo Fulton mercy in that fight. Then you're going to get out and say that Naoya Inoue, oh, he's not that good. He's not that great. He doesn't have great power. Naoya Inoue wanted to knock Stephen Kubo Fulton. The first time he dropped him, he would have just followed up with his punch. Instead, he hit him and took off the punch. He backed his own hand up in that. Go watch that again. I broke that down many a times. When Naoya Inoue hit Stephen Kubo Fulton, that he went down, that the glove allegedly hit the ground, and then Naoya Inoue was going forward with that pressure. If he wanted to really hurt Stephen Kubo Fulton, he would have punched him, and his punch should have been going towards the audience. It would have snapped his jaw back. He probably would have knocked him right out of the ring. But Naoya Inoue hit him, boop, and he let off. In order for your hand to go back, you have to understand you have to voluntarily do that movement. You had to anticipate that you were going to hit him, not hard, but just hard enough to put him down. Boop, and then back your hand up. He showed him mercy. If he wanted to hurt Steve, he could have really damaged. Steven was defenseless. He was staggering back like this. He didn't know where he was. He was a sitting duck. Naoya Inoue didn't take advantage. He just said, I'm going to hit you hard enough to put you down. If you get back up, I'm going to finish you. And he finished him with that vicious body shot in the corner where Steven like fell down and the referee saved his life. That's what really happened, whether he wants to be honest or not. Now, I've seen Stephen Fulton since that fight. He's looking a lot better. He's looking real good. He's looking real good. He's looking sharp. He's looking smart. And I wouldn't mind watching a rematch with that. You know why? Stephen Kubo Fulton is so good, in fact, that he went on to become a world champion again after losing to Naoya Inoue. What are you guys saying here? Let's read them. I heard Naoya Inoue will be announcing the play ball tomorrow at the the judges. But when we pay for a Naoya Inoue fight, we usually don't go to the judges. And to honestly think about the last time Naoya Inoue fight went to the judges, it actually shouldn't have. The last fight that went to the judges on a scorecard with Naoya Inoue was Nonito Donaire 1. And we all know Naoya Inoue knocked out Nonito Donaire in that fight. That fight was over. He went down for a legit 10 seconds. Whether or not the referee, you feel like he cheated him, I do. Yes, I do. The referee saved Nonito Donaire in that fight. When Nonito Donaire was fading back, that he grabbed his stomach and Naoya Inoue was going in for the kill, at what point in the rule book does it say a referee can jump in with his belly and bump you and grant you a standing 8 count when you weren't up against the rope taking damage? How does that work? Why didn't he just allow Naoya Inoue to finish him? Why did he come in and step in? He gave, and then Nonito Donaire runs around the ring and goes down on one knee in the corner. Then he turns around and goes, 2, 3. I was like, what do you mean 2, 3? He's been at least 7 seconds. It was unbelievable. And then you got to think back at the situation. You got to think back at the situation in the moment and what was transpiring during that time, guys. The Flash is who they wanted to win that tournament. The Flash was Top Rank's guy. The Flash was on the pound-for-pound list. You got to remember this. Naoya Inoue was never signed to Bob Arum during that time. Then they said Donaire was washed. Really? Donaire was washed? So you're telling me if Naoya Inoue wasn't in that tournament, who wins the tournament? Nonito Donaire. He was so good, in fact, he made it to the final, right? But he's washed. He loses to Naoya Inoue. What's he do? He goes, wins the belt, defends the belt, and gets right back with a rematch with Naoya Inoue. But he's washed. I'm sick of these narratives they try to put on Naoya Inoue just to put him down as a fighter. But I got to admit one thing. That kind of worked in his favor. Think about it. All these fighters that bought into the fact that they thought Naoya Inoue was a hype job, right? All of them that believed that shit, right? They all fell for that. They all signed up to fight Naoya Inoue, right? The hype job, and got destroyed. They quickly find out they were in the ring with the real one. And it was too late. It's too late. He was walking off with their belts. This man is coming into his 25th consecutive world title fight. Naoya Inoue. Go look up in the history books and tell me one man that has 25 world consecutive title fights in a row throughout divisions. Now, I'm not talking about a gentleman that has 25 title defenses or 20 title defenses in one weight division. Muhammad Ali has something like 19 title heavyweight defenses. And I know that this in history. But when we break down a fighter such as Naoya Inoue, you're doing that throughout 4 divisions. Meaning you didn't take no tune-up fights in between the divisions to stop that record. No. You use world champions as tune-up fights. Only Joe Louis, right? What? How does how was Donaire washed when he was 36? These are the narratives they were putting out at these times. These were the narratives. And then I'm sitting here saying, how the fuck were you saying that Donaire was washed at the time? Then you're going to say that Mayweather was washed when he fought Saul Canelo Alvarez? Mayweather was 36 years old and Saul was 23 years old at the time they fought. And old ass, according to some of these people, 36-year-old Mayweather was way too much for 30 what did he have? 33 fights, 32 fights. Saul Canelo Alvarez was a world champion and all of the age of 23 years old. It's like that same narrative that they say that Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao way too late and that Manny Pacquiao, Floyd waited till Manny Pacquiao got old, right? I'm scratching my head saying you guys do realize that Floyd Mayweather is older than Manny Pacquiao. Like they try to tell you, and then they don't want you to think. They don't want you to think in the truth through. They just tell you, oh, Floyd fought Manny when he was old, and they keep going in the conversation. They don't want you to think it through. But wait a minute, isn't Floyd older than Manny? So when he went into, Manny was the younger fighter. Some of these things, they don't want you to think it through. All these lies that they said about Naoya Inoue, they're all lies. All of them. The hand wraps, the hype job, the steroid scandal, all lies. Hand wraps. This man, I got footage. You got it all over social media. You can go see it, for God's sakes. Since he was in the amateurs, Naoya Inoue was knocking guys out with headgear. Headgear and 16-ounce, 14-ounce gloves on. He's knocking these kids out. And he was a baby himself. At 19 years old, you mean to tell me that you guys allowed a 19-year-old, 5'5", 108-pound Japanese fighter to come up and beat all you champions? You mean to tell me when he fought for his first world title with only having 6 professional fights, he was a kid. He's a 19-year-old kid. And he's going in there and he's knocking these champions out like this? Mind you, champions that never been knocked out in their career. Fighters that have never been put down to the ground. Omar Narvaez had 43 fights with 1 loss. He only lost to the legendary Donito Donaire, and he took him 12 rounds. Naoya Inoue destroyed him. And I mean, he kept putting that dude down. He kept getting up. He really destroyed. He made these guys look below average. When you see that shit that took place against Nick Ball and TJ Doheny, doesn't it really open your eyes to the special kind of fighter Naoya Inoue is? You're sitting there at home scratching your head going, but wait a minute. Why is Nick Ball having so much problems with TJ Doheny? Why? Then you start to realize how special Naoya Inoue truly is. This was Nick Ball's doing. Remember that, guys. This was his measuring stick. He wanted to get in a fighter that fought Naoya Inoue and to use it as a measuring stick that he's ready for the monster. I'm going to tell you right now, after that fight, Nick Ball entered witness protection program with that belt. He just enrolled yesterday. He's not fighting Naoya Inoue. His coaches and his trainers and the whole world saw exactly what we all saw. If you put Nick Ball in the ring with Naoya Inoue, you might as well just hand him the belt. Just give it to Naoya. Yo, spare Nick Ball the ass whooping and just give him the belt. That's what you might as well do. I don't see anybody stopping him now. And that Angelo Leo kid with that little bit of mouth that he has all over social media talking about he'll beat the shit out of Naoya Inoue and that he wants that smoke. Okay, kid. Keep running your mouth, bro. Naoya Inoue's coming for you and he's coming for all you guys at 126. All of you. All of you. And you know, I'm going to tell you right now, when the best is doing it the best, I'm going to get behind him, man. I'm going to support it. I want to see Naoya Inoue do great shit. I want to see what happens when you truly dedicate yourself to the sport and how far you truly can go. Leo is average at best. He got better since the Stephen Kubo-Fulton loss, but he's average at best. They're hyping him up too. They're hyping Leo up too, I think. You know, Leo's all over social media talking about, yeah, I want the monster, bro. Careful what you ask for because you just might get it. Naoya Inoue just might walk up in there. And you know, this pissing contest that Naoya Inoue has with MJ and his Ed Hearn and all of them, they're in a fucking pissing contest with Top Rank. They really don't want to do business with MJ. He's such a piece of garbage, right? And he's been saying all these false things about Naoya Inoue, and the whole world, including myself, has gotten to the point where I'm like in that position where like I was with John Casamera, right? I'm there with MJ. I'm saying just Naoya Inoue, please bust this guy's ass just to show the world he's not on your level. Just to shut him up, because he's got some people fooled. MJ that Naoya Inoue somehow ducking him. I don't know how is that possible. You mean the guy that wasn't good enough to hold on to his belt? You mean the guy that beat you for your belt? Naoya Inoue brutally knocked him out? But he's supposed to be scared of you. And if you guys were to fight, how many of you got MJ in the fight? So why is Naoya Inoue scared of him? Or avoiding him? Or ducking him? There's got to be something behind the scenes, and I know it has to be with a promotional issue. They're just not getting along. I saw one or two things, because I've seen this happen in the sport of boxing a lot of times, where the guy tells the other guy, right? This guy's saying, you're ducking me, right? This guy is telling the world, I'm neither ducking you or afraid of you. I am the show, and without me, you wouldn't do no numbers. Naoya Inoue can give Marlon Tapales and Ed Hearn and all his team a big fuck you and move up to 126 and avoid from fighting him and leave it all up to MJ. Now, MJ, if you're so good, go make that $1 million fight by yourself. With who? Where are you going to make Naoya Inoue money? Go. You're not going to do it. First of all, you ain't got no belts. You got an interim bullshit WBA champion that, who would you fight again for that belt? What was the guy's name? Rank number what? MJ? Come on now. They didn't respect your number one ranking just like I don't respect it. It was bogus. He fought a guy ranked 88 and another guy ranked 58. He didn't even fight anybody in the top 10, MJ. He didn't fight Marlon Tapales again. He didn't fight any of the top guys to be awarded that number one spot. Naoya Inoue and Top Rank must have laughed at that. There was another example where boxing is just boosting up a guy so that the WBA can cash in on some sanctioning fees. Same shit they did with Errol Spence Jr. How the hell did Errol Spence Jr. earn that number one spot at 154 to fight Sebastian Fundora? He never fought at 154. He's never fought one fight there. How's he the number one for the WBC from 147? How? That's that shit in boxing that I keep telling you guys. We gotta keep this in mind. Boxing is a business disguised as a sport. Boxing's main agenda, the first priority in boxing, is to make money. The second is for your legacy. What kind of fight can we put together? Money first in boxing. And a name like Errol Spence Jr. sells tickets. He moves the needle. He gets the number one spot for the WBC. 32 board members, not a ranking system. They elect who they feel worthy to fight for their belt. WBC. That's how that works. MJ, last win was horrible, dude. MJ is a hype job. He's the definition of a hype job. But they trying to call Naoya Inoue one of the most decorated and most accomplished fighters we have today. They're trying to call him a hype job. If you're calling the most accomplished, the most decorated champion we have in our era a hype job, then what does that make the rest of everybody else? If the best to do it is being called that, Who are we measuring Naoya Inoue against? What champion are you comparing him to? Who does it better than Naoya Inoue? I'm right here, Round One Sports Talk. I would love to hear it. Name me one guy currently today doing it and that's more active, putting more on the line, achieving more in a shorter period of time than any other fighter currently active. Because when you come up on my show, if there's anybody out there that feels like you want to debate me on this, even talk about it. We can have I don't have to go at you. You don't have to go at me. Just explain. Who's doing it better than Naoya Inoue? And when you come up here, you got to bring me a fighter. Remember this. Remember, bring me a fighter that you're putting up against this Japanese guy that won 8 belts in a calendar year. He became undisputed from the moment he beat Paul Butler and got 4 belts. He vacated his belts after 30 days. Within 11 months, he had the other 4 belts. From the moment he beat Paul Butler to the moment he beat Marlon Tapales, where he unified all 4 belts, within 1 year, he has 8 belts. And you would have to bring me up a fighter that has 24 consecutive world title fights throughout 4 divisions. He also has to be undefeated. And he also has to be one of the most active champions we have, not fighting 1 time a year. Naoya Inoue fights 4 times a year. He's fighting 4 times this year. He fought 4 times last year. And the only hiccup he's ever had was during the corona epidemic. So if you come up here, you're going to have to bring me a champion, and you're going to have to prove it. Because I can prove it. I'll go to Box Rack right now and bust out Naoya Inoue's record. So tell me, who's doing it better? He literally took these guys' records. Like if you was to take the one and only Terrence Crawford, my guy. I love Terrence Crawford. I think he's the best, right? In his weight division. If you were to take Terrence Crawford's 40 plus fights, right? 41 fights, whatever, right? And you were to put it against Naoya Inoue's 20 plus fights, you're going to quickly realize what it took Terrence Crawford a lifetime to do. Naoya Inoue did his career in half the time. Everything that every fighter has today, he's done it in half the time. Naoya Inoue's the only problem that I have with Naoya Inoue, there's only one problem, and it's been the same problem since he fucking started. It's only one issue I have with Naoya Inoue. He's doing it too good. He's too fast. He's doing it too fast. What makes these guys' records so beefy and 60 fights, like Saul 61 fights, Floyd Mayweather 50 fights, Terrence Crawford 41 plus fights undefeated, was that they kicked a lot of ass and they had a lot of time in between to fight a few choice fights. Naoya Inoue is fighting nothing but elite competition. Whoever's at the top of his division, then that's who I'll fight. He's doing it way too good. And his record is small, but his record is so strong that I don't think he's going to get 50 fights in his career. No, I really don't. I don't think he's going to make that 50 fights. That corona epidemic set him back 4 or 5 fights. It really did. And the fact that we're starting to see all these guys mysteriously get eye injuries and stuff and start to pull out on fights. Alan David Picasso wrote all over his social media he was going to get this fight, and his coaches were like, no, you're not. And as we can see, there's been a lot of times, and even the Russells were offered the fight. A lot of people didn't just step up, and these are the things that they will not tell you about Naoya Inoue and the kind of fighter he's made himself. And they're not signing up to fight him now. The cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows he's a monster now. But all the questions I had for him at 126, they're gone. They're gone. This thing that some of these guys are talking about, oh, well, his power translate. Let me see. Since he started his career, he's moved up 5 weight division. He's a champion in 4. He bypassed 1. At 122, that's his 5th weight division, technically. And since he moved up 5 weight division, has his power, what has given you the impression that his power is not going to move up with him? Well, I think he's going to move up to 126 too. I don't see Naoya Inoue having any problems with moving up, guys. I really don't. So now we got this fight in Vegas. Let's talk about it. I looked up this Roman Cardenas guy, right? He just fought Ocasta, right? Pretty all right fight, right? There's a problem. There's a problem. My man, the Mexican dude, he gets hit too much for me. His guard is trash. I know a lot of Mexican fighters and like even Puerto Rican fighters like Subriel Matias is criticized for being hit a lot, right? You just can't get hit like that by a dangerous puncher like Naoya Inoue. Okay, maybe the Mexican might be able to sustain 1 or 2, but keep taking those kind of shots. You can't take those kind of big punches all night. You're not going to be around long enough. I don't suggest him standing there like he does in the Mexican style and think that Naoya Inoue is just going to go chest to chest with him, although he will. One of the great things about Naoya Inoue, I've truly studied his fighting style. He can adapt to the fighter that's standing in front of him. He can use your style against you. He'll beat you at the very thing that you're good at, and he'll take away your strongest strength. See, Naoya Inoue understands the fighter and fighting. He understands movement. He also understands that how to take away the side the fighter typically doesn't train on. His first step off that burst, Naoya Inoue, it's incredible. He closes distance very fast, and that he's up on you typically faster than you can expect. I believe a lot of the fighters were surprised by that. Fighters like Stephen Kubo, Fulton, TJ Doheny, Martin Tapales, they quickly found out that he can close the distance remarkably fast. And then when he came in with them shots, the reason what you see, when you watch your fighter, you've watched him in certain situations exchange punches with different fighters, and you're saying to yourself, well, when Naoya Inoue steps in front of these guys and he starts firing off them shots, why ain't these guys opening up trying to fight back? Because even though those punches are being partially blocked by your glove, they're fucking rattling those dudes' heads. They probably can't. What stops you from firing back is what just came your way. They must be getting hit hard that they're deciding to like not open up, because he's turning these guys. Let me tell you, look, Paul Butler is a decent fighter. He was a decent fighter, man. He turned that man into a human punching bag. Like, I wouldn't say like in the World Series of Boxing when he fought fighters like the Dominican fighter Payano, he was an awkward fighter, a lefty fighter, and he shifted one way wrong. I mean, he did one thing wrong in the fight. He went shift, Naoya Inoue knocked him out. Boom. You're not going to be able to get away with too many mistakes in front of him. I've described this many a times in my show. What separates an elite fighter from a good fighter? A good fighter will have you figured out between 6, 7, and 8. Good fighter, he'll have your timing figured out. He'll know what you're doing. He's been fighting you. He's figured you out between those rounds. A great fighter will have you figured out between 4, 5, and 6. He's figuring your timing out, blah, blah, blah. An elite fighter will have you figured out in the moment. You make too many mistakes in front of him, he's gonna make you pay. That's why when you hit an elite fighter with a big shot, good luck, because you're not gonna hit him with that shot again. Every punch that's ever staggered Mayweather, you've never seen that guy hit him with that shot again. He records it. He learns off. He knows where he was in position, how far you were, and what was his mistake in the moment. Sugar Shane Mosley never hit Mayweather with that shot again. Neither did none of the fighters. None of Castillo, he never hit him with that shot again. Never. Zab Judah never hit him with that shot again. Luis Pantera Nari hit Naoya Inoue with that shot that dropped him. Did he ever land that punch again in the fight? No. It's not like every fighter can do this. Ask Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu got hit with that shot, got dropped. What was the next? The same punch. Devin Haney got hit with that check hook. Could he figure out how to get out of the way? No. He got hit with it again. There's fighters that you can hear the announcer saying, man, he can't avoid that right hand coming down. He's been getting tagged by the same punch all night. He can't figure out why he's getting hit with it. But the elite fighters, good luck. See, not all fighters make reads. Not all fighters are doing the same thing. Not all fighters are thinking the same. That's what makes Naoya Inoue an elite fighter. There were a lot of opportunities in that Nick Ball fight where I felt like if he was fighting Naoya Inoue, he would have got knocked out. He would have got knocked out. I don't think Nick Ball is fast enough. I don't think he moves good enough. And no longer do I think he's strong enough or punches hard enough to really give Naoya Inoue. I think Naoya Inoue punches harder than Nick Ball. Nick Ball caught TJ Doheny. The few times he caught him, full-fledged power shots. Boom, boom. Didn't do anything to him. When Naoya Inoue hit TJ Doheny with a jab, he went snap. And TJ Doheny went and walked backwards like he couldn't believe what he just got hit with. The reactions that Naoya Inoue was getting out of TJ Doheny, Nick Ball didn't get that kind of reaction. He looked like a little brother in there. He was getting, matter of fact, he was getting schooled. He was getting schooled. And if TJ Doheny can finish that fight, I think he walks off with his belt. That was incredible to watch. I'm trying to tell you guys. The hell you trolling on my shit, putting some basketball World Cup shit. What are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? It was 2 punches. It was 2. People love him in America. Well, the Naoya Inoue fight is almost sold out. Sell in Vegas? Yeah, he'll sell in Vegas. I think it's sold out already. The tickets went on sale. What was it? The day before yesterday? I should just look it up right now. It probably is sold out. T-Mobile Arena. This is a different site. But I'm here anyway, so I'm just gonna check it. May 4th, right here. May 4th boxing. Find tickets. Let's see what they got. I'm gonna check out the seating. I'm gonna check out seats for 2 people. For 2 people. There's seats still available, but not much. The entire top section is filled. All seats, all the middle, they're all sold out. F is sold out. That's ringside. The section F, that's all sold out. E got like, yo, the ticket prices went up. The ticket prices are going up. The tickets now, well, if you want to sit like in section, okay, I'm looking at section 14 right now, $1,282. Now that's about right. That was for 2 tickets. That's for 2 tickets, yeah. But I did click on this one. Front row tickets for 2 people. If you want to sit in E section, $7,823 for 2 tickets. If you want to sit ringside for 2 tickets, $7,000, bro. They got some ringsides. 6 seats left. It says for section A, $5,588 for 2 tickets. 15 seats left. Section B, $4,200. So you got to be a little bit further back in those sections. You see the prices change a little bit. That means you could be ringside, but it's like whatever, how many rows, you're like the last row in ringside and shit you'll be sitting on. Because all the front rows they're sold out. But there's a couple tickets still left for Vegas. But we're still some quiet time away, you know. But that goes to show you that they announced Naoya Inoue fight 2 days ago. The tickets went on sale. Gervonta Dane Davis fight against Lamont Roach, you can find tickets the night of the fight. They had plenty of tickets. They were giving them away to fill up the seats. That it didn't sell out. Gervonta Davis in New York City, like it started getting packed the day of the fight when they had to like cut ticket sales, and then people bought them like at the door. Naoya Inoue in America, barely hardly known, but we know who he is. He's almost sold out in Vegas. And if there was a Naoya Inoue fight in Japan, it would have been sold out in the same day. Naoya Inoue sold 54,000 tickets to that Tokyo Arena within like, what was it, 2 or 3 days that was sold out completely. He has no problem selling tickets, bro, Naoya Inoue. This is all a Bob Arum thing. He wants Naoya Inoue to get the global respect he's deserved. Bob Arum truly believes he has one of the greatest fighters to ever live. And in order to get Naoya Inoue's respect, Bob Arum understands he has to cross the pond. He has to. He has to come out in America and show up and show out. Because we have to be honest with ourselves, okay? I understand the change in the sport. Used to be America was so dominant with boxing, you would have to get cross the pond to get validation. And now in today's era, so many countries are competing with great world champions that they're arguing, we don't have to cross the pond if you don't cross the pond type shit. But respect is respect in all forms. You can't expect to get respect when you're showing disrespect. You can't show disrespect to the American boxing when we are clearly ahead of the curve. We have way more champions than any country will ever produce. And if we're being real, no country will ever catch us. It's not going to happen. The closest country, we have like 500 world champions, and the next country got like 140 or some shit throughout the history. Then you guys are never going to catch us. So to be considered the best, do it where the best do it. Where the best are measured in your sport. It's only common sense. You would have to give the Americans that kind of respect. But when you go in to compete against them, show no mercy. Japan, come in, do your thing. Prove who you guys are. And Naoya Inoue is the right man for the job. I want him to come in and I want him to prove to the world in where the best boxing level is considered in the boxing world. I don't believe boxing is measured on that, but it is measured on competition. You can look like the best in some of these other countries and then come down here and get exposed. Ricky Hatton was an amazing champion for the European. He came down here, fought Manny Pacquiao, he fought Floyd. In America, it didn't work out too good for him. And that's where the people say, well, you fight in Vegas, we put you against the best, and look how you fared. He didn't look that great, did he? I don't think that there's going to be Naoya Inoue's problem. I think that the game is changing. Pretty soon, it might be a time where we're going to have to go out there and show respect. Americans deserve it right now. They're ahead of the curve. Times are changing. And Bob Arum is an old school throwback promoter where he wants the best for his fighter. He already knows what he has in Naoya Inoue. What he wants to do is prove it to the boxing world. He'll never have that stigma over Naoya Inoue. You never cross the pond type shit. And although Naoya Inoue has crossed the pond several times, he's already fought in U.S. 3 times, but it was under the corona epidemic. There was no ticket sales. So a lot of people never really went out to see him. Right? Okay. So, when we think about some of the greatest legends in our sport, ironically, you think of men like Mayweather, right? And in many eyes, Mayweather is the best boxer to ever live, to ever do it. I have him on my wall for a reason. I respect him as a legend. I'm not going to say I agree with all his antics, but I don't let that blind me from the fighter he once was. And you talk about champions like Mayweather, right? And you're like, man, Mayweather was so dominant. But wait a minute. Mayweather never traveled outside of the U.S. in his entire career. Mayweather has never went abroad to anybody's backyard to fight anybody. If you wanted to fight Mayweather, you had to come to Vegas. Mayweather, once he started fighting in Las Vegas, he didn't fight anywhere else. Now, although at that standard, Mayweather was doing it at the highest level because he was fighting where they considered to be the best fights in the world. The Mecca of boxing, Las Vegas, the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden, where some of the greatest epic fights have ever taken place. You walk into the building and you can feel the energy from all the warriors that's been there past and present. Watching my cameras, my dog's barking, so it made me look. So when we think about the warriors past and present, like you go with these historical buildings and stuff, boxing is changing now, and there are a lot of waves coming from different countries and stuff. And you think about Mayweather and you're like, yo, wait a minute, you ain't never traveled outside of US, so why the hell does Naoya Inoue gotta leave Japan? You never left your country. Why does he have to leave his country to prove that he's great? And Mayweather's saying, because I was already in the pond. When we asked him to cross the pond, Mayweather was saying, I was already standing in there. Why would I go anywhere lower when the greatest fights and the biggest was already here? So Mayweather felt like he never had to travel anywhere. If you wanted to fight him, come here, because I'm actually doing you a favor. By fighting in Las Vegas, we make the most money. You know, we can go out there and fight where you're from, but we're not going to make Vegas money. So Mayweather was actually doing it the smartest, and I understood that. But there's gonna come a time, and I could feel it. There's gonna come a time where that boxing fans are gonna say, you know what? Why don't you guys cross the pond now? We have the champions. We have the belts. I think America really needs to start like kickstarting their guys. And we have a lot of young, nice talent coming up, and I think that we're good in boxing. We just got to go after some of these world championships. The Keyshawn Davises of the world, he already struck first. I'm expecting Abdullah Mason, Cormel Moten, Xander Zion, just to name a few. And I believe they can become world champions as well. So, you know, yeah, it's been yeah. That look, and I was saying that, right? Right? I was saying that. I was saying to myself, when's the next time we're gonna see Naoya Inoue in America? Yo, he can truly end his career in Japan. From here, once he goes here, he's gonna fight in Riyadh season, and then he'll probably end his career in Japan. Naoya Inoue say he's gonna retire at 35. So he's at the tail end of his career. So I advise all of you, if you wanted to get a glimpse of him firsthand, the Naoya Inoue experience, this is your opportunity. I think this might be my last chance to see him. I might be wrong. I could be wrong. But why would you pass up 55,000 in a Tokyo arena if you can do that out there? Madison Square Garden, Las Vegas doesn't fit that many people like that. Max capacity 13,000. Barclays Center. Like, you're not selling 55,000 tickets, my man. So when's the next time you really believe Naoya Inoue is going to pass up Tokyo Arena money to come out here? He does just fine in Japan. He don't need us. This is really just to promote him as a fighter so that he can get his from the rest of the boxing world. And Bob Arum can showcase him for the fighter that he is. So I didn't want to miss out on this opportunity. This is a one in a lifetime opportunity for me to see him. To see such a fighter like that, man. To experience him. It is an honor, man, because I've always had that question, man. If you stay disciplined, you stay loyal, man, how far could you have gone? Mayweather answered that question. He was truly dedicated to the sport. He had a lot of antics behind him, and he understood that, but that was a part of promotion. You know what I mean? And I think that fighters like this, they only come around once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. When you see the rest and how difficult it is, you just ask yourself a very basic question. Just a very basic question. If that what Naoya Inoue is doing is so easy, why hasn't anyone else done it in his weight division? Why can no one mirror him? Why can't the great Junto Nakatoni do what Naoya Inoue's done? Why can't Bam Bam Rodriguez emulate some of what Naoya Inoue's done, some of his early part of his success? If they're so much better and it's so easy down there in the bantamweight division, those guys are lightning in a bottle. Those guys down there are so good. In fact, they keep taking out each other. There's no one dominant, undefeated champion that rises up through the rank and just beating all the great champions. A lot of these guys look like they beat some good champions, but they're being managed well. They're being avoided from the top guy and put against the old legend type shit, like Bam's kind of doing. And it's giving you this impression that he's beating these old great legends, but let's see what you do with the top young guys. Naoya Inoue beat all the top guys going all the way up. If it's so easy what he's doing, why in the 100 years of boxing there has been never been an undisputed world champion at super bantamweight in the history of boxing ever? Like, for instance, in Terrence Crawford's weight division, there's been a unified world champion before him, and undisputed. And Mike Tyson, the heavyweight, there's been an undisputed, unified world champion before Mike Tyson. But in Naoya Inoue's weight, in the history of boxing, there has never been a man to do that. But what he's doing is so easy, and that there's nobody there that he's fighting. That's all hogwash. Those guys that are down there that he's fighting, in fact, throughout all the weight divisions he's passed, all four of them, the three, right? He's already left the division. So why can't the guys that are left there do it? Just do it. They can't. They can't. Not even the great Junto Nagatoni can just muster up that much of Naoya Inoue's career. You know why, too? Because Naoya Inoue came in at a real interesting time in boxing, let me tell you. And I think that a lot of the boxing world, I was guilty of this myself, is that when we see these Japanese dudes, these Philippine guys, we're like, yeah, they do good all the way up until this point. You seen fight Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily knocked out that Japan fighter. Boom. And I thought that tall Japan kid was going to give Vasily a good fight. Vasily laid him out. And we were like, damn. So every time we're seeing like Japan fighters starting to make a little bit of noise, and you saw what Luis Pantera Nari did to the Japan champion, right? Not once, but twice. You're like, the Japan dudes are good. But so when Naoya Inoue was coming up, the guys weren't scared to fight him. They were like, man, come on, man. Japanese dude, put him in the ring with me. What they didn't realize, and what I didn't realize real early on in his career, he was him. No one knew that Naoya Inoue was going to turn out to be this kind of fighter. I mean, maybe him and his dad believed it, but did you really think that was going to happen? Let's just be honest. I never thought that this dude was going to turn out into the fighter that he was. In fact, when he went against Emmanuel Rodriguez in the World Series of Boxing, I had Emmanuel Rodriguez. And I was like, yo, Emmanuel's going to have to knock this dude. He got lucky with that one-punch knockout against Payano in the first part of it. I was like, now let's see what time it is. Bro, he walked through that man. He beat the brakes off Emmanuel Rodriguez, bro. Emmanuel Rodriguez was swinging away and missing, hitting none but air. He hurt him so bad. And with those body shots, he took the fight right out of him. And I was convinced from that moment on. That moment on, I never, ever looked back with Naoya Inoue. I was just like, he's him. He's the real deal. And I've seen him fight against tough Mexican fighters, and I've seen how he put them away. He knows how to handle pressure. He knows how to work around power. He knows how to do all of that. When Cardenas here fights him, Cardenas Mexican style for me gets hit way too much. I don't like how he stands there and allows the guy to hit him so that he thinks he's gonna move around that. Naoya Inoue is gonna really hurt this dude Cardenas. And I think that he's going to put him away in good fashion. What round it's going to be, not sure. But Naoya Inoue has been known to be a bit of a showman. He'll give you your money's worth before he knocks the guy out. I've seen Naoya Inoue knock out tougher guys in the first round. When Naoya Inoue was really anxious in his career, he wasn't showing these guys no mercy, and he was just knocking them out in the first round type shit. But I think his father and other people wanted to give the fans some, some ahs and oohs. In the Luis Pantera Nari fight, I think plans kind of flew out the window when he got dropped in the first round. They was like, listen, if you could put him away, right? Like, and it goes to show you he can fight adversity. These are the type of things we talk about when we want to see our fighter in these kind of situations, right? You never know what's going to happen, how he's going to act when he gets off the ground. You saw Devin Haney when he first went down in his career. It was like he couldn't get out of his head. He was more embarrassed that his wife, his brother, his father had saw him go down for the first time. I think that was on his mind, and it wasn't letting him get back into the fight. Naoya Inoue went down in front of 54,000 Japanese fans that paid to go see him. Everybody in attendance took a deep breath, and you would have saw all their jaws like that when he went down for the first time. When that man got up off the ground, I don't even think he's ever been put down in his amateur career. I've never heard Naoya Inoue being dropped in training, nothing. I think legitimately that might be the first time he's ever been put down in a fight. That man rose off that ground, off that canvas like a fucking phoenix rising from the ashes. He got up off that ground, and then he was so calculated, calm. He was aware though. He was aware. He was like, I got the memo. You can crack. I got the memo, right? And I truly believe this. Luis Pantera Nari hits any other fighter with that punch, he knocks him out. Naoya Inoue got a iron chin, bro. He took that punch like a champ, like a true warrior, bro. He stood up, looked at the referee. Naoya Inoue was like, this is a first. He was like, is this what this feels like? He's like, I've been doing this to these guys all this time. This is a first. He looked up at the referee. He was like, 7, 8. That's my cue. And you. He looked at Luis Pantera Nari. He's like, you did this. Okay, I got you. Bro, he showed that man no mercy. That knockout was brutal. That shit was brutal, bro. He snapped that shit off like, pa! And Luis just, like, it was, if you put that, I would love for somebody to dub that and do it like in slow motion and put like a soundtrack or something. You'd see his face just going, and the mouthpiece just, it just dribbles down like life just, like if his spirit just jumped up, left his body, and ran to the locker room. He was, I don't want no more of this fight. And checked out. And that's fighting adversity. When we say, has your fighter ever been tested? Naoya Inoue's been tested. And he's been tested in the Nonito Donaire fight when he got his orbital bone fracture too. That was a test. It goes to show you that Naoya Inoue was in a lot of trouble in that fight, in the Donaire fight, where he couldn't even see straight. When you looked into that man's eyes, there was no quit in him. It wasn't like he was worried, like he didn't want to be in the fight, like he checked out in the fight. There was no quit in him. He was born to fight. He was truly born to fight. Because you'll never know if your fighter's like built for that. There's been fighters that were all hyped up. Wow, this guy's the next best thing. Subriel Matias beat the crap out of that dude. He retired. He ain't never fought since. It's like some of these fighters, when they're doing good, they're on top of the world. And when they get beat up like that, they realize this is not for me. Maybe I should try to be a plumber or electrician. Maybe, they start rethinking their life decisions. Maybe this is not the sport for them, and Naoya Inoue is truly, he was born to fight. And when we go out there to see this fight in Las Vegas, I'm going to tell you right now, whether or not you have the privilege to be out there, I encourage you to tune in to watch this fight. I'm going to tell you right now, Naoya Inoue will not disappoint you. He's going to bring you ahs, oohs, and I can guarantee you he's going to bring you that oh shit moment. That moment where you watching the fight and you go, oh shit. He's going to give you that. He's going to give you that moment where you're going to jump out of your seat. And to the guy that said Naoya Inoue's only problem is the judges, Naoya Inoue fight, we don't go to scorecards. We don't go to scorecards around here. The last time he went to a scorecard was that Donito Donaire fight. That's been like 20 plus fights, some shit like that, right? No, how many fights since the Donito Donaire fight? Okay, wait a minute. I want to check this out real quick. We got to look it up. Fun fact, let's find out. If they would have counted and would have told the truth on the Donito Donaire fight, and let's just say, hypothetically, that he knocked out Donito Donaire in the first fight, which technically he did, right? Okay, check this out. You know how we do around here. I'm going to share this with you guys because I always keep you guys in the loop with me. I'm never going to keep you guys. Okay, here we go. When we talk about things or we bring shit up, we bring up the evidence. There's your man right there. There's my man right there. Naoya, the monster Inoue. He has 29 fights, 26 big weights by knockout. He has been in his professional career. He is ranked number 1 in Japan out of 156 registered Japan fighters in the super bantamweight division. He is number 1 in the world where the planet is here. There are 1,411 registered fighters in the super bantamweight division. He is currently number 1. He is 31 years old. He's 5'5". He has a 67-inch arm reach. And in his career, he has gone a total of 173 professional rounds with an 89.66% knockout ratio. Okay. Now, Naoya Inoue, just in case you're not too familiar with him, he started his career with an 8-round scheduled fight. He's never fought a 4-round fight or 6-round fight. He only had 2 professional 8-round fights, 2 professional 10-round fights, and since his last 10-round fight, which was only 4 fights, he's fought all 12 rounds since. Naoya Inoue, let's count it. I want to go down to his current status right now. Wait, get this off my screen. What the hell is this? Get out of here. Okay. Now, here we go. This is when you know on Box Record of fight is official, when they have the opponent that you're fighting against at the bottom for your next fight. That's why we know that that's very official. Okay, now, let's count it. Count with me. From his last fight, Yi Young Kim knocked him out in the 4th round. TJ Doheny knocked him out in the 7th. Luis Pantera Nari knocked him out in the 6th. Marlon Tapales knocked him out in the 10th. Stephen Kubo Fulton knocked him out in the 8th. Paul Butler knocked him out in the 11th. Donito Donaire knocked him out in the 2nd. Knocked him out in the 8th. Wow, I thought that was, he knocked him out earlier. That kind of, I got to remember these fights. Des Marinas, he knocked him out in the 3rd. Jason Maloney knocked him out in the 7th. And the Donito Donaire, which went 12 rounds. Now, this is why I bring you here. If this was a knockout, which we all know it was, where would his knockout streak still continue? 2nd round, Emmanuel Rodriguez, 2nd round. Juan Carlos Payano, 1st round. Jamie McDonald, 1st round. 3rd round. Knocked him out in the 6th round where he quit. In the 3rd round. Shit. Okay, this is it. This is where so he would have technically right now. That's where I wanted to get from David right here. Carmano. Okay, look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. He would be on a 19-fight knockout streak in a row. You see what that bullshit does for you in your career when they didn't count that knockdown against Donito Donaire? He would be on a 19 consecutive 19 fight knockout streak coming into this fight right now. Naoya Inoue. And that's the truth. He would have 19 consecutive knockouts coming into this fight straight. And this is who he's fighting. He has 26 fights, 14 knockouts, 1 loss. He's 29 years old. He's a Mexican American fighter, orthodox, 5'5". In his professional career, he's fought 135 rounds. He has a 53% knockout ratio. They have no arm reach for him. And in America, he is ranked number 1 out of 125 registered fighters. So he's obviously moving up in the world now that he's ranked in the super bantamweight division. Well, as American fighters, he's number 1 for us out of all the super bantamweights. Out of 125 registered bantamweight fighters, he's the number 1. There's not a lot of American bantamweight fighters anyway. Okay, I see. Okay, and then he's ranked number 10 in the world. Pretty good. All right, cool. That is just not good enough. He has a lot of unanimous decisions. Danny Flores, he lost 10 round majority decision. That was his loss. Okay. And then now he's scheduled right now to fight Naoya Inoue, which Naoya Inoue is coming in obviously 29-0. And what you don't see here right here is the fact that the WBA champion is not here. You notice how there's only 3 titles registered on the on because BoxRec does not honor the WBA. They're going through a bit of a situation and let them handle it. So I understand for all the new people that are coming in and watching my stream and you're wondering what looks off here. They do not recognize the WBA championship. I'm not, there's a lot of speculation on why that's being played out on BoxRec right now. But nevertheless, Naoya Inoue does have the WBA championship, and it is an legit official world champion. In fact, the WBA championship is the original world championship belt. Okay, so we can't leave it out. When Naoya Inoue got dropped, it was shocking. Listen, you need to go watch my video then on, you know what I mean, how shocking that was. I have a short. And in fact, in my short, I called everything before it happened. I swear to God. I should pull up my short. I'm going to do it. I'm doing it. You don't got to go. I'm going to go pull it up for you. I'm going to go pull it up for you. I'm going to show all of you guys. Tell me if I didn't call this Naoya Inoue knockdown before it happened. Tell me. What the hell? I didn't have I didn't have a title for it. I would have to find it. Okay, hold on. I think I can still find it. I kind of remember what I looked like in the video. If I could just see like the front of it. Yo, I was shocked. All right, let me put up one, and if I go to it, maybe I could scroll down and find it. Yeah, hey. Okay, where's the volume thing? Can I turn that down? Okay. All right, right here. I'll find it right here. Let's see. I want you guys to see this with me. Come on, man. Is this it? Nah, that's not it. Hold up. Yeah, I gotta find it, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Where is it? It was a good, because you gotta see it. The truth about what was right here. My reaction to Naoya and it down for the first time. Right here. I got it. Got it. I got it. Okay. You know how we do around here? We can't like let's go here. Okay. No. Yep. That's it right there. Okay, here it is. This is my reaction to Naoya Inoue going down for the first time, right? Now I want you to hear what I'm saying. Like I'm watching the fight. He hasn't gone down yet, and I start to talk about it. Oh, that lunging with the Neri don't back. Wait. Oh, that lunging with the Neri don't so wide, Neri. The Japanese guy got to watch that punch, man. He has to keep his guard up. Not. Oh my God! Huh? I told you he got to keep his hand up. The monster's good. 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 You think that guy right there was nervous a little? Oh, that lunging. Huh? You think that guy right there was nervous? He was like, the monster's good. The monster's good. I was talking about. I was saying, Luis Pantera Nari, all that lunging with it's too wide. He needs to shorten it. And I was saying that Naoya Inoue got to keep that hand up because he was trying to sneak it in. And just before I said that, he gets dropped. Boy, did I call it. While watching the fight, I remembered it. I'm watching it, and I was like, Nari, you're throwing your shot so wide. Tighten it up, and you'll be able to hit him. And for the monster, I was like, yo, the monster, you're a little too relaxed with your hand. It's down here a little. And then all of a sudden, boom, I was like, oh, shit. And like, the life just jumped out of I couldn't believe it. It was like, I knew that Naoya Inoue was the more skilled of the fighters, but shit happens. Just ask fucking Jaime Munguia. Jaime Munguia was beating the shit out of Bruno, and Bruno cocked back and knocked him out because he got lazy. That was Munguia's fault. Naoya Inoue got a little too relaxed in the clinch, and he slid himself out, and Naoya Inoue was going to throw a punch. He was going to throw a big punch of his own, and when Luis Pantera Nari hit him, the momentum of how solid Luis hit him, Luis Pantera Nari hit Naoya Inoue, and Naoya Inoue swinging at the same time, his momentum was already going that way. So when he hit him, Naoya spun and just smacked down against. He's never been knocked down or knocked out, or he don't even know how to fall right. And he felt like awkward. And when he hit the ground, that his body went boom like that. It looked like it shut off, and the bounce woke him back up. Like he was like boom, and I was like, he's out. I thought he was out for a second, for a split second. I thought he was out cold. Naoya Inoue. When I seen him spin around, get up on the knee, and look at the ref, I was like, okay, he's okay. He's okay. He's okay. And then, of course, Luis Pantera Nari started the forward pressure, and he started like coming at him. Naoya Inoue was backing up. And I didn't like the way he was backing up, Naoya Inoue. He doesn't back up good. Now, a lot of Japanese fighters don't. He looks awkward. Like that's something he never worked out, going backwards. The training, like evading, not fighting off the back foot. Because Naoya Inoue can fight going backwards. He can fight for going forward, side, anything. I'm not saying he can't fight going backwards. I'm saying he can't evade good going backwards. He doesn't evade good. He had like that. He was like I don't like that shit. You know, he was doing like that. He's not usually the type of guy that's running away from the smoke or evading it. He had to clear the cobwebs. You know, his head was probably still rock. You could see the bruise started to appear on his cheek. And he went like this, evaded, grabbed him, boom, 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 and then pushed off. And then he used his footwork. And he started going on the balls of his feet. And he started bouncing around, giving Luis angles and baiting him in. And then Luis Pantera Nari tried to come in with that lunging shit. Naoya Inoue shuffled back his feet, check hook, boom, dropped him. Once he dropped him, he slammed his gloves together. He was like, yeah, now we even. Now we got to fight. And he knew he could hurt him. Once you know you can hurt the dude, that's when Naoya Inoue settled back into the fight and he just took over. Destroyed him. He took over the fight. Luis Pantera Nari didn't win another single minute or a moment in that fight after that. He destroyed him. So I can't wait to see this man live. And like I said, all you guys that are gonna be meeting me there, man, listen. A Panic Attack. I changed his name to Pacific Attack. So if you hear me saying it wrong, I'm actually saying it right. You know, that's how you get into the Round One Sports Talk family. If I really like you, I done change your name. You know what I mean? I do it to everybody. But Panic Attack to everybody else. Look, I'll be meeting you guys out there. We can hang out and we could all, you know, run up on in Vegas like crazy Round One fanatics. You know, so can't wait to see you guys out there. I'm very excited for this. This is one of the fighters that I've had to go see myself with my own two eyes. You know, if I consider him to be the best fighter in the world, the opportunity of seeing him firsthand, I just couldn't pass it up because I truly don't believe he'll ever be in the United States again. You know, he's coming of age right now, and I believe he rides out the rest of his career in Japan. And I really think that he's deserved that. I think if any of the champions want to fight him, I think they should go out there. Now, going up to 126 might be a little bit difficult because he'll be going into those fights the non-champion. He would have to establish himself first and get a belt in order to get the other fighters to come out there to fight him for that they can have something. You understand? But I believe his first fight for competing against one of the 126 pounders, I think he would have to actually come back out either to America or to whoever country they have the belt at. Now that's a possibility. But all the champions currently right now, I believe, except Nick Ball, are American champions. You know, Espinoza represents Mexico, but I think he's an American-born fighter. So I think if it could possibly, but once he wins one belt at 126, it's a wrap. He doesn't have to venture out here to fight anybody. Because you can stand to make more money with him in Japan. So that's why I believe that this is probably going to be the last times or the last opportunities we'll get to experience the Naoya Inoue experience. Yeah. So like you guys were saying in the chat, man, you know, you couldn't pass up this opportunity. And I don't think that a lot of people that like, I think a lot of fans that love boxing and love to see the best do it, you're not going to want to miss this fight. Whether or not you're fortunate enough to go out there or watch it on TV, I invite you to tune in for Naoya Inoue experience. Absolutely. So fight fans, listen. Um, yeah, people love him in America. Of course they do. Of course they do. You know, and Bentley, listen, a lot of people can have a lot of things to say about this man, but I know he's gonna sell out this event. Um, and I can't wait to see him. So fight fans, listen, thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to give these videos a like, share the videos, comment on the videos. Let me know what you guys think. What round do you think Naoya Inoue can win this fight? And do you anyone see Roman Cardin giving Naoya Inoue any problems in this fight? He's a little awkward, a little bit of a boxer, good puncher, decent counter puncher. I don't like his defense and I don't like his footwork. I think that he needs to tighten up a lot of things to fight Naoya Inoue, and I believe that everybody doesn't go into the same fight the same. When you're be given an opportunity such as this, the phone call to fight for 4 belts and be the first man possibly to defeat this kind of champion, I believe that you wake up extra early in the morning and you run that extra mile because you understand what's at stake here. So, fight fans, let me know what you think. Please leave it in the comments below. Share the videos. And like always, I'm on to the next one. After this one, here at Round One Sports Talk, you guys have been amazing. I'm your host, Edwin, and I'll see you on the next one.